I don't know if you know who Hugh Ross is. Hugh Ross is a creationist astronomer who believes in the Big Bang and goes around telling people the Big Bang's real. The Word of God tells us that God spread out the heavens. There's astrological evidence.
Astrological? Nice to find the level so early on.
That there was no Big Bang. The Big Bang is a fallacy. Big Bang is a fallacy for a number of reasons, but I'm just going to center upon one for now. The reason is black holes can't explode.
And dustbins can't make a cup of tea, so what?
It's that simple. You see, we know that there are black holes in the universe. We've detected them.
Ah, yes, we.
And we have a lot of strong evidence to believe that the center of every galaxy in this universe contains a black hole at its center. And all the mathematical models that we can conjecture of black holes.
Now, dear viewers, I want you to take note that Neph justifies the existence of black holes by mathematical modelling. By those pesky evil scientists, I may add. Yep, and note the "we can conjecture."
With that much matter being in a single location would create so much gravity that nothing could escape it. Not even light would escape it. Right? So a black hole can't explode, can't go boom.
Ever considered what would happen if two black holes collided? Thought not.
Okay. That's just impossible. Now, the evolutionists argue against that, well, the singularity wasn't a black hole because it had dark matter in it.
Look, I don't know if Ross believes this or not, but regarding real scientists, this is a massive straw man. Exactly who has ever claimed that the singularity had dark matter? Indeed, was there any matter in the singularity, or was it all energy?
Let's explore that just for a second. Let's pretend, for a minute, that I got to debate Hugh Ross. Okay? I'm going to show you how easy it would be to make everything that comes out of his mouth in that debate look like a silly conjecture and for people to laugh at him for the rest of the debate by me asking him one question.
Well, if making a video on a mock debate isn't conjecture, then I don't know what is.
Okay, so let's pretend, I'm going to pretend to be both me and Hugh Ross in a debate.
So, Nephy, you're going to pretend to be you. I bet it will be the best impression of you ever. Pure genius.
So, Hugh Ross says, well, we know that the Big Bang occurred because, the universe is expanding.
Wow, this Hugh Ross sounds just like you, Neph.
Me, I say. Oh, Mr. Ross.
You could at least call him sporty.
Does the fact that it's expanding necessarily mean that it was in one location in the past? Well, and he says, well, if you conjecture, I mean, if we, go back in time, we can see that it was, okay, and I ask him, well, now you're assuming that because it's expanding, it was in one location at one time.
As conjecture? Weren't you conjecturing about black holes not that long ago? Thought I'd remind you.
Are you saying, Dr. Ross?
Just now he was Mr. Ross.
That a black hole can explode? Do we have any evidence of that? And Hugh Ross says.
Hell, even in a debate that you stage, you still managed to strawman your imaginary opponent.
Oh, well, the singularity wouldn't have been a black hole. It would have been different because the singularity would have been comprised of massive amounts of dark matter.
I know nothing of Hugh Ross, but if you believe that, then he would be as dumb as you now.
And that changes everything. And of course I ask him, okay. Well, see, black holes are massive amounts of matter located in a single location, and evolutionist cosmologists claim that dark matter is what's allowed stars to form, keeps galaxies together, and keeps the planets in our solar system going around the sun. That's what they say.
Actually, dark matter is a term to define the fact that there is not enough observable matter to explain the gravitational forces on a cosmological scale. Dark matter is not needed to explain star formation nor the planetary orbits around our sun. Lying to support your own bilge is one thing, but placing lies in the mouths of your opponents is even more despicable.
So, why again would the singularity, does a black hole not have massive amounts of dark matter in it?
Fair question, but what the hell does this have to do with the singularity?
G. Ross says. Well, we don't know that it doesn't. They don't. In fact, we assume that probably do because they're not exploding. They're not expanding.
You know, if I was Hugh Ross, I would take Neph to court for slander, if nothing else, just to get a translation into English. Neph, I can only explain this muddled video by you having other things on your mind. Favourites, anyone?
And so I say, oh, okay. So your idea that this singularity could exist and could explode is based upon the fact that you believe it had massive amounts of dark matter in it. Well, yes, that's the current theory.
Has anybody watching this video ever heard such a theory? Parental warning. A scene of an upsetting nature follows immediately. Okay, bring the kids back in the room. To those adults whose jaws have hit their toes, yes, what you witnessed was real.
And I say, oh, okay. Dr. Ross, what is the physical evidence that dark matter exists? Do we have physical, tangible evidence that passes the scientific method, which is observable, testable, and repeatable, which can be considered science? Not speculations or conjectures, not assumptions. But do we have physical evidence of dark matter's existence?
Well, Nephy, you see, it's like this. We have just as much physical evidence for dark matter as we do for the black holes that you obviously believe in. The argument for both is exactly the same. Neither are visible, but we know they both explain a cause for an observed effect. I think you'd better revise your bullshit on that one. By the way, nobody has ever seen a quark or even electrons, etc. Do they exist, Nephy?
Dr. Ross says. Well, we have worked out the models of the mathematics, and
bloody hell, and you have the audacity to accuse Thunderfoot of stuttering.
Clearly there's something there because it doesn't work without the dark matter. Right?
Ah, yes, the maths. Dangerous thing. Neph doesn't do maths.
I say, okay, so then you're admitting that your assumption that this massive amount of dark matter exists is what you base your idea on for the concept of that a big singularity could explode.
What, Neph? If this was a real debate, the audience will be demanding a translator. I, like yourself, have not the slightest clue what the hell you were talking about.
It's not detectable. We cannot detect it. We do not know for a fact it exists. It's only conjectured to exist.
Bit like black holes then, and a lot like God.
And therefore, what you're saying is not science. Okay, see, I asked you a question in science. Can a black hole explode?
You can ask a question of science, but how do you ask a question in science?
Do we have evidence that there is this dark matter so we know that a black hole could explode?
This man is confused. Dark matter causing a black hole to explode? What sort of sci-fi is that?
In the existence of dark matter, even if we did detect it, that wouldn't somehow verify, I don't believe, that a black hole could explode.
Look, Neph, if this is what an old Earth creationist thinks, and you're no spring chicken yourself, then this becomes a pointless debate, because that would make you both blithering idiots.
But so you're admitting, then, that your idea that this singularity could explode is based upon your assumption that dark matter exists and that the singularity had massive amounts of it. You don't have physical evidence that passes the scientific method for this dark matter, or that it could be there in the singularity. Is that correct? And just please answer me yes or no, Mr. Dr. Ross. I don't want conjectures or speculations or inferences.
Quite right, Neph. That's your job.
And all this, we're talking about science, are we not?
Blindingly obviously, we are not.
Okay, so please give me a yes or no. Is it not your assumption that this dark matter exists, and therefore you base your idea that the singularity could explode because of this assumed dark matter? Well, yes, but thank you, Dr. Ross. Thank you. And Ross would say, well,
time for those of a nervous disposition. It's that time again. Quick, hurry. Is this what my life has been reduced to? Making videos on this pillock? Nurse me pills!
And I say, okay, so then, Dr. Ross, is it not true then what you're putting forth is your assumption, your personal assumption based on something that is not scientific?
Okay, folks, competition time. Please rearrange the words kettle, black, pot, the, calling the into a well-known saying.
Okay, Dr. Ross, I would appreciate one thing. If you keep your religion, you keep your speculations, your assumptions, and wild conjectures out of this discussion, we're talking about science, okay? You should know that, being a cosmologist. And Dr. Ross's response to that is to look around at those sitting next to him, fidget a little bit in his pants, and
Fidget in his pants, eh, Neph? Must be looking at the same porno sites that you got called out on.
blink, blink.
And all of this just when you thought Neph could not excel his previous excesses of disjointed thinking. Of course, he had to fabricate this mock debate because he would get slaughtered in a real debate. Now, this is what I would call a more realistic mock debate. Okay, Neph, I have provided you with some maths on your moon crater story. So, where is yours?
I'm going to answer that right now. You see, it was Sharon who saved those porno sites to my favorites. You see? Go figure. I win. See ya, loser.
Mr. Dawkins, can you give an example of a genetic mutation which can be seen to increase the information in the nephome? You see, even Richard Dawkins is stumped on that one.
And I say,
Mr. Dawkins, I'm stumped too. But I do know that when he was previously talking about erratic boulders, he probably meant erotic boulders.